right, everyone, welcome back to your new favorite sports podcast with two racial slurs in the name, Zip and the Mick. We have a we have somebody's phone really close to a microphone. Jimmy,
That would be this guy. That
that'd
would
be
be this
Jimmy.
guy. That would be
That'd
this
be
guy.
Zip. Right in the middle of my fucking intro, dude. I'm like, I'm about to do an intro. I even
No
wrote this
respect.
whole thing out. None whatsoever. You see what kind of
I was
fucking shit
trying to
I'm
give the
dealing with,
back
Paul?
out music, man. Like you needed music, so that was the music.
You missed the music part, dude. You were
That
in
was
late.
techno. That was techno right there, man. That's
Oh,
what that
dude, that was
man.
Trent Reznor on a bad day. What the fuck?
Hey, come on.
Anyway, we have a very special guest this episode. Everyone, please welcome the greatest goaltender Oklahoma high school hockey has ever seen,
Come on.
my friend and soon to be yours, Paul. Paul, what's up, man?
What is up? What an introduction, man! Out of left field. I
I
was
know
not
I've never
expecting
I never scored on you.
that. Not on the ice.
No. we partied together. I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's no judgment here, man.
Paul,
Hey.
welcome to the show. We're just here, just a little podcast that Jimmy and I like to discuss sports. And you, my friend, are one of the what I consider a true fan of your team.
Yeah.
Um, you love them, but you're also their biggest critic.
Oh,
And
100%.
so I wanted to bring you on and definitely with this episode because I'd like to get into talking about the college football playoffs. Recently, we just got uh the new the what this is the first rankings that came out.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Paul, I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
It's the first rankings, and it gives people stuff to talk about. It gets guys like me invited on to podcasts, but ultimately, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's fun to talk about, and it's another way to say, hey, my team's better than yours. But I mean, it's going to be so different by the time this is done, especially with 12 spots that,
Mhm.
like, what's the point of getting riled up over something that's going to change in a matter of days? If I had one complaint to say, just to get it riled up, it's bullshit that Penn State's ahead of Indiana. I'm just gonna say it. Just gonna say it, man. I mean, look, they lost. Indiana's undefeated. I know Indiana hadn't played the schedule. They have. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Jimmy, thought?
I mean, Indiana hasn't played anybody, man. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they got a solid record, they're undefeated, but like they haven't played anybody.
Yeah.
Like Penn State, they played ranked teams and they lost to a ranked team. Like that's what got them. That's what got them. They're pretty much expected. I think. Look at them. Yeah, they're down to 6. They were in 3rd, and they lost to a ranked team that was number 3 or number 2, whatever. It gets dropped down out of the top 5. That's crazy. But,
So this is just the first because we got some big games coming up,
Mhm.
and you know, I guess these are just the initial. It's the initial projection is
Yeah.
what it is, and with these games that are coming up, we're probably going to see a big change. My biggest the whole way that the playoff thing is the brackets are set up because I thought I wrote down the top 15 teams
Mhm.
and then I looked up the playoff brackets by seeding and I thought I had written down the teams wrong because it doesn't match up. Like just because you're the number third ranked team in the nation doesn't mean that you're going to be in the top four because that is the way that it's broken down. It's that it goes to the conference,
Yeah.
or yeah. And I like I could fucking show you my notes. Like I was like, what the fuck? And
My man took notes.
yeah, dude, I thought I had it. I
Proud
thought
of
I
you,
had it
man.
wrong, and it kind of I kind of knew that was going to happen because we had spoken about it before, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Well, hold on, shouldn't it at least match up?" But it doesn't. So I think I don't. I understand it. I think it's a good thing right now. But if we get into the whole nil factor, and I believe that this is going to change a whole lot of schools. Like, I don't want to bring up that subject now, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I
yeah,
do.
in
Fuck
fact,
it. Let's bring it
I
up.
mean, might as well, man. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to change the whole how everything's laid out. Like, it's definitely because it's a business now for players, especially. So, like, I mean, think about it though. The colleges have been pretty much like just taking advantage of all these individuals, man. Finally, they get a chance. And like, if I was a player, man, I'd be excited, man. Like, I would, because you could get a college degree, you could stay there the whole time, man. You don't have to go to the NFL now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And just be a superstar be a 5th year senior. You know,
yeah,
like be a superstar. You know, like I would, because you're getting paid for it. Like it's crazy. So
yeah.
yeah, no, like that nil, man, it's gonna definitely gonna change. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
I think going back to something you said about the playoffs kind of being not quite matching up. I think you're looking at it like a fan, and to talk about that money aspect of it, the message in the rankings is simple. All the wild card spots are going to the Big Ten and the SEC. That's the message in that, and because that's the money, those are the TV audiences. Like Iowa State had their first loss and they got dropped, and BYU's going to get a bye because they win their conference, and whoever they play is going to dog walk them out of the fucking stadium. So I mean, Indiana, like if Indiana and BYU 8 and 9 were to
They're
play
good.
this
Yeah.
week, I think Indiana would smoke BYU.
But that's gonna be insane though, because you think about BYU and Indiana, is that their core like Indiana's team is solid, but I'm thinking their defense is a liability. I feel the defense is a liability. They got a solid quarterback. They got a good run game. They got the college is double back. Most teams are working 3, 4 running backs right now, man. It's insane. So I think Indiana has potential to do something. But BYU, man, I think that's going to be a waste of a spot right there if they
Yeah,
win. It's going
yeah,
to be a waste. It's going to be a waste.
and that's why Iowa State is not in the
Mm-hmm.
playoff with one loss, where you have a two-loss Alabama in the
Mm-hmm.
SEC. You
Oh,
know,
I hate
Yeah.
that. And Jimmy, we talked about that before because if they make it so that these conferences just beat the hell out of each other and play these nobody teams, because that's what it's going to end up being. Because why would you want to risk anything or risk a loss outside of your conference?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to continue to schedule Tennessee Tech University on the south side of
Yeah.
wherever, but and then play inside your conference and hope you beat them, because you can eventually, like, if you could make the playoffs as a two, maybe even three loss team. It would be a hard matchup for that to happen, but
Yeah.
it and it's just I don't like it because
Yeah.
it does you follow the money and it goes to the big conference schools. It's I think it's just tailored that way, like you guys were talking about, like they're but I don't know
But
if it's
that's what
gonna
it
stay
is,
that
though.
way.
It's a business, though. That's why, like we were just talking about just seconds ago. That's why, like Alabama, they're trying to keep Alabama in the playoffs, man. Because money, man, it's a money grab.
mm-hmm.
Like you can't tell me that Alabama should be ranked number 11. Like,
No,
come on, man. They
not at
got
all.
what I told you a
Yeah,
couple of episodes ago. I said they're gonna keep them relevant because it's all about that money, man. And they're doing
yeah.
it. Like they're doing it. It's crazy. I don't agree with
It-
all at all with this with the rankings. I don't. I think it's some. I think it's some bullshit. I
I
think
want
there's a
to
lot of teams that could be changed around.
make a prediction, which I'm bringing it up now
Mm-hmm.
because I had said it before, Jimmy, and it doesn't seem as bold now, but ever since SMU got the death sentence revoked and this new, nil thing involved, their program has turned the fuck around.
SMU is
And
a sleeping giant in the
yes,
NIL era. Seriously, they're going to start throwing so much
Yeah.
money around.
Uh,
Wait and see. Wait and see.
And
They're the
that's funny.
ones. It's so true. It's so
Paul,
yeah.
Yeah.
my
Go ahead.
prediction, my
Yeah.
prediction was college football playoffs within
Mhm.
the next 5 years,
Yeah, that's
and
what you
they're already
said. Yeah.
showing that they could
It probably
possibly. They're
I'm
making
thinking
an
it's gonna
argument for
be
themselves right now.
Hmm.
I don't think it's gonna be this year, but like they definitely got a solid program down there. They definitely got a
Yeah.
program. Like it's been building
Dude,
over the
they're
last couple
coming
of years,
back.
though.
Yeah.
It's
They're
been
coming
building.
back hard.
They
They are
are.
pissed.
They
It's
are.
it's crazy because they've been building one like when most people wouldn't even be having players come to their fucking school, man. Like they
In the day and age
you know like
where the ACC and Big 12 lose players to the SEC and Big 10, they're going to be the one program because of the money and the location. Because you can still play football in Texas and be close
mhm,
to home and get in the playoffs every year. They're the one school that's prime to explode. And look, I have said this for years, and I will continue to say this. I know they made it to the ACC.
mhm,
At some point, SMU will make it to the Big 10.
mhm.
They get
I can see it.
relevant. They get relevant. They're in Dallas. The Big Ten can take a school in the heart of SEC country. Man, give
Mhm,
them 2 or 3 seasons. They're riding this ACC thing. They will end
mhm.
up in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that no,
Wow,
I
there
can
we
see
go.
that. I can see that. I
Yeah,
can see that all the way, man. I can see that.
yeah,
No
That's the
question
first
about
time I've ever heard that. So
it.
you
Yeah,
heard it here
yeah,
first,
yeah.
yeah,
motherfuckers.
But I can see that, man. I can definitely see that. Like it makes sense. It's only beneficial for them. You know,
yeah,
like it's only beneficial for them. And like, come on, man, ACC. Like, are we serious? Like,
yeah,
I'm an ACC fan. My team's in the ACC.
yeah.
Like, come on, and I'll tell you, come on, man. Like anybody can come there and just take over take over everything. Like
Mhm.
we have no team. It
Yeah.
was Tech. It was Clemson. Like we don't have a team, man. Like
So Paul, I have a question for you. Do you think the induction of the transfer portal, and with this nil, that it is going to change college football positively or negatively? Because it's definitely going
Positively.
to change it.
Positively. I mean, from a fan, you're like, oh, I don't like the traditions. I don't like the guys bouncing around. I mean, these guys have been bashing their brains in for decades for our entertainment. They deserve a piece of the pie.
mhm,
All for it. And as a fan, you need to respect that these players are able to get some sort of return for the physical investment they're making in the game. It's only fair. Transfer portal, I got a problem with it.
yeah,
It's too wild. You need to sign a contract. It's real simple. It's real simple, and I think it's going to get to that. There's a Supreme Court case. I think it's this one right here. It's Alston versus the NCAA, and what they're saying is it's not hasn't come up to argument yet because they're working on a settlement, and the settlement's going to be money, basically a salary cap for every team in Division One. And they're saying right now the rumor is $21 million a year. Every team is going to have $21 million a year to spend on their
mm,
football roster.
mm,
That's what they're saying is coming from
mm,
this.
mm.
Okay.
But you're
That'd be
still,
interesting.
Okay.
but it's still not going to level the
Mm,
playing field.
mm,
It may some because like take Oklahoma State for instance. They don't have a ton of NIL money right now. So
mm,
they're going to get $21 million. That's great for them. That's great for their players. Every other school is getting the same 21 million. And the schools that have NIL in place now, they're going to have that on top of what the schools are paying because a lot of the NIL comes from like private money and private donations. So those are just going to switch off and still be there. They're just not going to be as affiliated with the university. So you're still going to have your Ohio States, your Alabamas, your Texases getting all the big name players. It's not going to help them, but it's going to allow those second string players to start making a little something, whereas right
mm,
now they're not.
Which brings me up a big question with nil is I didn't realize that when it was instituted how unstructured it was when it came out. Like the schools can do different things with the different players. And the who is the player that walked away from he was promised like $100,000
The kid
cash?
from UNLV, the quarterback from
uh,
UNLV. Yeah.
Yeah. Because of a verbal contract due to nil, I mean, what they were 4-0, they were undefeated or something like that. He walked
Hmm.
away,
that's
and
crazy.
Yeah, I could see both sides
Mhm.
of it
Mhm.
because it's kind of fucked up on both sides. Because I think the guy who promised that much money didn't have the fucking power to
Mhm.
get him that kind of cash.
Yeah.
And two, to like, dude, this is 2024,
Mhm.
2023. Get it in writing.
Mhm.
Get that
Yeah.
shit right in a
Mhm.
fucking email, a verbal agreement. Who the fuck's doing this? What are you in a
I'm
back
pinky
alley?
swear. Come here.
Yeah.
Grab that pinky.
What the
When
Like
you're
you
fuck?
promised me. You promised. You
Yeah.
promised. Like yeah,
Like that's
man.
the only thing about that I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with him like walking away from the fucking school or whatever,
Mhm.
because if that deal really did go down, good for him. Like you said, Paul, like these kids really deserve to be fucking paid because the majority of them aren't coming out of there with anything but fucking CTE and
yeah,
Mhm.
indebtedness. So
a job at
Yeah.
Northwest Mutual selling insurance.
yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully you can get some money, with the local AC and heat people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember me? I threw 4 touchdowns once.
Yeah. That's Jason White to this day.
Yeah,
Comfort
yeah,
Solutions. Yeah, that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. That's kind of why I put that. Is his name still on that fucking water
Tuttle,
tower out
Tuttle,
there?
Oklahoma. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
my
down there
wife used to
playing.
live out there.
I was playing disc golf down there a couple weeks ago and drove right by it.
Mhm.
Nice. Can't believe that fucking shit's still up there. I mean, it's time to take it down. How the fuck hasn't a tornado ripped that motherfucker down yet?
So when did you move from Oklahoma City?
Me?
Yeah, what 99?
Dude, yeah, I was out. Yeah, I stayed for the millennial party and then I
Yeah.
left in January of 2000.
So do you remember on Lake Hefner the water tower that said OK 89 for the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oklahoma? Dude, that thing was still up until the 2010s. So you
It's
talk
still
about
up right
water.
now.
I think they recently painted over it.
Yeah, they painted over
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
OK 89
So
was up
yeah,
forever.
and so it's like 2013. You're driving down the road and you're like, oh, that was 25 years ago. Great, something nobody knows what
Yeah.
it is.
Your children are like the AC guy
Yeah.
for when I'm home sick drinking 7 Up. Fucking A. All right, let's I think we've killed that one pretty much. Let's get into next week's big games. Dude, first one I have on my list is Georgia and Ole Miss. Jimmy, we haven't heard from you in a minute. What do you think about that? What do you
Georgia
predict?
and Ole Miss, man,
Yeah.
that could go either way, man. Like I'm not sold. I'm not saying Georgia's a bad team. I'm not truly sold on Georgia yet, man. You
Did
know
you
what I
did,
mean? Like,
do you know that Ole Miss, I believe, is favored in this game?
yeah, they got a solid defense, man. But
So do you
that one, I still think Georgia's gonna pull it out, but I think it's gonna be a close game.
does Ole Miss? I'm trying to think, Jimmy. I've been trying to talk about this guy for like
Yeah,
four or
you were
five
talking.
episodes.
Yeah, you were talking about the dude that plays both ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Paul, do you know this guy? Like, I forget what team he plays for, but they use him like the refrigerator Perry.
Yeah, it is Ole Miss.
Is it?
Yeah, it is Ole Miss. Yeah,
Do you? All
yeah. I
right.
don't know his name, but yeah, 2 weeks ago, whenever they
Ole Ole
broke their
Miss
foot
by
off on this.
yes. I'm calling Ole Miss by 10. Ole Miss beats
Yeah,
Georgia.
I think it's gonna be close. It's hard to tell, man. Like which Ole Miss you gonna get. You know what I mean? That's what, like, 'cause they're a solid team, man. It's just which one you gonna get, like on
I th-
Saturday, man.
I think Ole Miss upsets Georgia. Paul, what do you think?
I think Georgia pulls it out.
Yeah.
I think Ole Miss is good, but I mean Georgia. I'm with you. I don't think they're as. I don't think they're. I don't think they're going to win it all, but I think they got what it takes to go into Ole Miss and win. Those players have done that. They've been in those kind of fights, and yeah, yeah. I take Georgia. I take Georgia 24-20
At Ole Miss.
at Ole Miss.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gonna upset the rebels in their own home.
yeah.
It's the Civil War all over again.
No, they're on the same side.
Oh yeah, that's right. Way to
They're gonna
fuck up
fight
my
you.
joke, Paul. Thanks for being so smart.
Trying to help you. Trying to
Yeah.
help you. Clean up your material.
Yeah. Damn it.
He's fact checking.
Yeah. Oh man, he's so fast. And I've got more big games, but does anyone else want to talk about a game coming up?
Florida, Texas.
Okay.
Look, my wife makes fun of me. She calls me a closet Texas fan. When I was in the hospital 2 months ago, my best friend bought me a stuffed Longhorn because he jokes about how much I root for Texas. I'm a huge OU fan. I'm not a Texas hater.
No shit.
Uh, iron sharpens iron. I think when OU is good, Texas is good, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's supposed to be. But I think Florida is going to give Texas all they want this weekend. I think Florida is better than people think. I don't think they're going to win. Um, and I think Texas is. I think Ewers has some issues. I don't think he is as good. And look, like I said, I'm not just some guy that craps on Texas to crap on Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Arch Manning is going to be the guy there, and maybe by the end of the season. Um, but I think Florida is going to give Texas everything they want. Because Florida's not playing bad. Florida has an impossible schedule. But they're showing fight. They showed fight against Tennessee. They showed fight against Georgia. I mean, they're not laying down like some teams are that have not met expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, give me Texas. I don't think it's going to be super close by the end. I could say 30-14 Texas, but I think 2 3 quarters. There's going to be some nervous fans in Austin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's it. That
I can
that
see
was
that, but
that.
it's
Go ahead, Jimmy.
no, I get that, man. Like I can see that, but like when you're talking about Florida, like Florida, it's just that they're a good team, but their quarterback play at times, man. Their quarterback, that's like the last game, like this weekend, like you saw it, like it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like they were playing two quarterbacks at one time, like so. If they get that quarterback situation dealt with, it's like they would be a way better team. But
Mm-hmm.
because they got
I
everything
think
else, man. They got everything else. They got a solid defense that gets tired. Like they got good running backs. Like good receivers. They have the means. It's just what quarterback's gonna show up.
I think I think uh Jimmy taking a little bit of that, and I'm seeing Florida as when Florida used to be, they used to always be a dominant team. I remember growing
Mhm.
up in the 90s, it was always Florida. Florida was a team to beat, Florida State. And
Miami's there too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it just seems now like Florida has now become one of those teams to watch out for
Mhm.
because they had the chance to beat you.
Yeah.
They're like that, don't sleep on them because they could beat you, but they're kind of always like they get ranked and then they have a couple big losses, but they never people kind of forget where they originally were ranked, and
Mhm.
so it am I making sense? Like they forget
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah, I
where
get it.
you saw them, like we expected them to be this good. They had a couple bad losses, got dropped by the committee or whatever, but they forget that that's still a pretty good team. So yeah, I didn't even have that one on my radar, but I think yeah, Florida always has that. They're now that team in my eyes that don't sleep on them, but they're never they're not that they're always good right now
Mhm.
team.
There's not as bad as their record indicates.
Yeah, that's
Say
Yeah,
that's a
that.
perfect
that's
way to
that's what
say
I'm
it.
trying to
That's a
Yeah,
get.
perfect way to say it.
they're not as bad as their record indicates.
Yeah. So yeah, Jimmy, what do you got on?
Shoot, I'm talking the Alabama LSU game. I think finally, like the whole world, everybody, finally Alabama's going to get put to bed where they're not even going to be ranked anymore and they just get knocked out. I think LSU going to smack them over the head. I think they're going to beat them down. That one, I felt like that one's going to be a confident one. I was thinking like
I
probably 27-13, something like that.
Let me ask you this: so LSU got shredded by a running quarterback against
Mm-hmm.
A&M. If they start running Milrow a lot like that, is LSU going to be able to stop it?
I think they're adjust. I think they're adjust to it. I think they're adjust to it because they like that's a solid program, man. After having dealing with that last week, knowing that you got a quarterback that has potential to go ahead and break open the open field, like you have to practice with that. So I think it's going to
I
be a different situation. I think LSU going to come out angry. Like I think it's going to be a situation where.
Yeah.
I think both of these programs are is overranked. Tell you the truth. I
No,
really do.
no,
I mean, look, LSU, like, look, South Carolina just had a big win,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
and South Carolina barely lost to LSU. Alabama's how many losses?
Two.
South
Okay.
Carolina barely lost to Alabama too.
Yeah.
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 That was a
Okay.
close one.
And South Carolina is unranked.
Mm.
And so I think this is a battle of two bullshit SEC teams.
I think, dude,
I really think I don't think it matters. I
I
think
think
they should beat each other up. I think we should watch a good
no,
game.
like the reason why I want to watch it, because the reason I want to watch it is because I finally want Alabama, because Alabama should not even be in the top 15, top 20, man. Like they should not be. Like
no.
with the games that they played, man, no, man. They shouldn't
No.
be. They shouldn't be. Like point blank. And I said that weeks ago, man. Like I just don't believe in them. It's not the same Nick Saban team. Like these kids are doing too much, and it's showing. They're undisciplined, man. Like the games that like they should have won. They should have won games, man. Like, but they just don't show up. Man, Nick Saban, like I'm not a big Nick Saban fan, and I love that Alabama's doing horrible. But the whole point is that I know for a fact that this is all about coaching and discipline, man. Like because it's just I don't know, it showed over the penalties, everything, man. Like I just don't think it's the same fucking team. Like, and I'm so happy, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I am so happy Alabama's losing this bad, man. Like, yeah, I am. It's like for the Patriots for me, man. It's the
Dude,
same
this
situation.
reminds me of the Alabama of old. Like, I think we're late enough in the episode I can tell this story. I'm home alone. Like, it's just me and the dogs. So, I used to date a girl that went to the University of Alabama.
Yeah.
And this was early 2000s. So, before they got good, they were a shit fucking team. And I didn't understand. Like, I went down and, like, tailgated with her. I would drive from fucking Virginia. Remember in my
Yeah.
fucking Dodge Avenger, I would drive from Virginia to fucking Alabama
That's a
and
good
go
drive,
hang
man.
out over the weekend and go to a fucking Alabama game. And so this one game, dude, we're sitting there and somebody uh like threw a spit cup and just was just like dumped it on my girlfriend.
Mm,
And we didn't know who it
mm.
was. And I was like, this is the kind of fucking people, like, these are the fans. Like, so I had got a bad. That's how I know Alabama. They were carrying the things of Tide with toilet paper wrapped
Hmm.
around it. And I didn't understand what that was. I was like, "What the hell is that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's Roll Tide." I was like, "What?" They're like Roll
that's
Tide. I was like, "That
pretty
makes
cool
absolutely no fucking sense
though.
whatsoever."
It does to me. I'm like, it makes sense to me, man. I was like, I get it, man. It's got tied and it's a roll. It's a roll tide.
Yeah,
It's a roll.
dude,
I was
and
like,
dude, we had
that's pretty
like
genius.
she was in a sorority.
Mm.
So we like go to these like dinners and shit. And
Oh damn.
people like when you would pass something at the table, they would say roll tide. Like when they would hand it off. Dude,
It's a
was
cult.
freaking weird, dude.
It
It
is,
was
though, man.
fucking weird, dude. And
It
people
is.
were dressed up like that. Like I had to dress up. I had to dress up.
I'm sorry, dude.
Anyway, yeah,
I'm
dude,
sorry,
okay.
dude. That was
Yeah,
traumatic.
yeah, I
That was
don't, and
traumatic.
that was my first, and that was my taste of Alabama before they were good,
The things we do to get laid, huh?
That's it,
right?
man. That's all that was.
Dude, I went 15 hours on gas station. Like, I remember the pills; they looked like little bees.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I know which ones you're talking about, man. The packets they were like stacker eights or something like that.
yes, that's what it was.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
heart's
yeah,
fucking just.
yeah. I drove when I got out the military. I drove from Fort Hood, Texas, to Jacksonville, Florida, straight, and I
Oh,
had I lived off those. That's
yeah.
that Gatorades. That's what I lived off of
Oh,
the whole drive.
our fucking hearts, dude. What the hell? What the
you
Yeah.
gotta
hell?
you gotta
Where
watch
were
that
we?
stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about
Fuck.
how
Okay, we
how
were.
how we hate Alabama, man. That's
Yeah,
what. That's
there
what.
we go. That's my Alabama story. And oh, I got into an accident on the way home in a horrible Alabama downpour,
Mm.
and the
The
ground effects
Alabama
of my
Slammer.
yeah, dude, the ground effects of my Dodge Avenger pulled up the mud,
Oh,
and
dude.
I drove home the next day with ants all over inside my car, not knowing how the fuck I was like, what the fuck, dude? that 14, 15 hour fucking 12 hour. I don't. It was
It's
a
a
long
good
ass
drive. It's a
drive.
good drive.
Yeah, yeah.
Over 10
With,
hours, man. Over 10 hours.
with ants all over my fucking legs.
I love
That's
So
it.
that is
fuck,
fucking awesome.
fuck
I love it.
Alabama.
Yeah, that's
Go
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
LSU. Even though I hate both those
I
teams.
know,
I
but
really
like
do.
but you gotta hate one worse, man. So like, and it
Yeah.
has to be Alabama. I don't know
Mm.
if too many people other than people that live in Alabama that likes Alabama. I
I
just
think
don't.
that qualifies as my rant. Does anyone like to? Would anyone else like to rant about something?
No, I don't want to rant. I don't want to rant about anything, man. You know.
Jimmy,
Uh,
The
you
messages.
you remind me of those. Remember the old wind, or not the wind, but the sun shades in the cars
oh
that if you
yeah.
flipped them the other way, it said call
Help
police.
911. Send
Yeah, and
send help.
nobody ever did it.
Yeah,
Nobody ever did it.
it says send help. That's why.
Yeah,
Come on.
is
Send
that
help.
your signal,
That's
Jimmy?
my signal, man. Like it's basketball season, man. I didn't mean to make that loud, man. But
It's okay.
it's
You've been
fucking
doing it the
basketball.
entire episode.
It's basketball season for me, man. Like it's basketball season. Like
So your rant is just what you've been wearing the entire time.
yeah, I'm just I'm done talking about this,
Okay,
man.
okay,
Like yeah, I'm
all
done.
right. Paul,
Come on.
Paul, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
I, I see you wearing that OU hat, and I
Mm.
know they haven't exactly been the team um they have been in the past recently, and uh I would like to hear your take on where this team has been and where they're going.
Forgive me if I get emotional.
Come on. Come on,
Tough
take your
subject to talk
time.
about.
Take your time, brother.
Don't
Tough
let
subject to
my
talk about.
don't let my Notre Dame stuff
Yeah.
get
Just
you
Yeah.
riled up.
ease
It's
into it, man.
it's uh it's as bad as it's been in my lifetime. Um I think the whole situation. I am not a sunshine pumper. And there are sunshine pumpers. That's what we call the OU fans. They're like, "Hey, just give it time, give it time." We don't have time. It's the NIL era. We're in the SEC. We've got a head coach who did one rebuild when he got here, hadn't worked. So we're going to turn around and give him an opportunity for another rebuild now that we're in the SEC, and we're going to hope he gets it right this time. Yeah. Few people outside of Oklahoma know this. When they hired Brent Venables, they were considering two candidates. Anybody know the second candidate they were considering outside of Brent Venables?
Was it Kingsbury?
No.
Mm.
That was my
Da-
guess. I'm sorry, I was way off.
Dan Lanning. It was down to Dan Lanning and Brent Venables. And the administration at OU chose Brent Venables over Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning waited to accept the Oregon job till he heard if he got the Oklahoma job. When he didn't get the Oklahoma job, he accepted the Oregon job. I don't follow Big Ten that much. Where's Oregon ranked this year? I don't know. Are they doing good?
Number
Are they doing good? I
this
don't
one.
know. I'm sure number
I think
number
this
one,
one.
number
Yeah.
one.
I
Okay,
think this
that's
one.
right.
Yep,
That's
yep.
right. He's
This one.
leading the best team in college football,
That's gotta
and
hurt,
the
dude.
the administration at OU chose Brent Venables over him, and now we're looking at the real possibility of dead last in the SEC in our first year when he's had 3 years of a rebuild. It is time to break that panic button with your fist because it needs to be smashed. It's beyond unacceptable.
So how
Beyond
do you
unacceptable.
so how do you fix it? Where do you start?
The new head coach. New
Where do
head
you
coach.
go? Where do you go?
I don't know. I mean, that's the $1 million question.
Who would you want if you could get anyone that
If I
available? Like you can't pull fucking Lou Holtz out of your ass, as much as you would
I'll
like
say
to.
I'll say I'll say this name because I brought this up when Lincoln Riley left. This was the first person I wanted for the job, and I got laughed at. Brent Venables and Bob Stoops, they're these stoic, you know, King of the Hill, Hank Hill kind of, oh, hey, everything's good. And, they play that role. They're great leaders of men. OU was at its peak under Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer had a bravado. He had a swag. He had an aura about him on the sideline. You bring Lane Kiffin to Norman.
Wow.
That's what I say.
You like
If
that attitude? You
if
like
I
that kind of?
it's got to change because it
Okay.
reflects in the fans too. I mean, OU fans, I don't know, they're not SEC ready as far as like game day atmospheres go. It's towards the
Yeah.
bottom of the SEC
Mm-hmm.
because the fans sit on their hands, timeouts. They're
You
not they're
can't
not
be
doing
like that in
anything.
the
No, you can't.
SEC. You
Go
know.
look at the TV timeouts last week from South Carolina.
Dude, they're like soccer fans
Yeah,
in
they're
the
going.
SEC. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Up or
and
down, the fucking fans are in it, you know? I
bring a
don't know why I
guy.
keep doing things with my hands.
Yeah, I don't know, man. What's going on?
I need to get a hoodie on like Paul.
Yeah.
Learn a fucking lesson or two. I keep talking with my goddamn hands. I
It's all
figured
right,
holding the
man.
mic would help it.
That's
I was like,
exactly
yeah,
what I'm doing. Keep them disciplined.
right? Fuck, I
I'm
can't
just
do
doing
that.
it so I don't start digging up my nose, forgetting that we're on camera after half an hour.
It's all
That's
right.
all right, dude.
Dig through it, man. Dig through
That's all right. There's only like 3% of
it.
people still watching at this point. So you can say whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
want.
They done hung up by now, man. So we're good,
Yeah.
man. Now the real shit can come out.
Dude,
Like,
so
they're not screening us anymore.
right? As long as you wait half an hour, you can say the F word or the no, don't say it.
Yeah.
Every 45 seconds, you got to reset because then they come back and then they think we're talking about the same shit. So
Everyone
they
just
leave
get
again.
quiet and start
Yeah.
talking about how good Jesus is.
Start staring. He's good.
Yeah.
Start staring into the screen and everything. Make up by
So, Paul, realistically, since you feel your program's on a downward spiral, when do you see him coming back on top? I mean, in this SEC program, do you think this nil and this transfer portal helps OU
Anything help any team. Any team. Any
or
team with the
hurt
right
him?
coach and this yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's
look
definitely hurt
it,
him.
look at a team that excelled in the transfer portal for a couple of years and then dropped. Look at Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Gravel
Yeah,
lived on the transfer portal. Got him undefeated, got him on the verge of making the playoff last year. Now look at him this year. Great portal win, portal loss.
that they
OU's
also talked a lot of shit too.
yeah,
They
yeah,
talked a lot
Yeah.
of
yeah.
shit.
No one's sad for him right now.
No,
No,
not at all.
Right
And I'm kind of
absolutely
happy. And
yeah.
and I'm not gonna try and talk too much shit because my Irish play them next week,
not.
and there's always that fucking chance because it is my Irish and it is me rooting for a fucking team.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't want to go over too much on it. Is that a dog?
yeah, that's Sasha. She broke in.
Look at her.
She's adorable.
We love dogs.
We love
She
them.
got it.
Yeah,
She got in the door.
there
Yeah.
she
She
is.
broke in.
Good.
Hey, Sasha.
This is the best part of the episode right
Yeah.
now.
There
Hey,
it
you
is.
said anything? You said anything could happen, so I put the
Yeah.
bat signal out. Maybe this will
So
bring it back.
Jimmy, your
Sir.
team is playing Pitt this week. How do you feel about that? Jimmy's a Virginia fan, Paul.
How do you think
Yeah, I
I
caught-
feel? Yeah, I mean, it's only like, how do you think
He's
I
a
feel
fan of
about
loser
that?
teams. I
Yeah,
don't know if you noticed that.
yeah,
It's okay. So am I.
yeah. It's okay, man. See, I'm a life Cowboy fan, UVA fan, Miami Heat fan. So like, I do a lot of losing. So it's okay, and I got good at it because I've been doing it for like 30 years. So I got real good at it. Yeah, I mean the Pitt game, man. Like, come on, man. Like, realistically, like, no.
Nothing.
I
Nothing.
don't
You
have
don't
nothing to
even.
say. I don't have anything to say because like that we got a young quarterback, man. Like young. And some games he'll show up, give you 80 yards rushing and 240 yards passing. And then he'll show up and give you 17 yards passing, like 22 yards rushing. So I don't know which quarterback I'm gonna get. Like it's hard. It's hard being a UVA fan, man. They got a 3.8 GPA average, man. They ain't getting no
What?
athletes. Yeah, yeah. They're the Ivy League, man.
What? Who the fuck is
yeah.
bringing up GPA? What the hell?
Because like you have to hold that GPA to stay at that school, man. Because
I
Samson,
mean-
the basketball player, like he didn't even know how to sign his own fucking name.
I
But he got a
think
college
that's pretty
degree.
much every program except for like.
No,
everyone in the
UVA has
SEC.
one of the highest GPAs that you got to have, man. Like Virginia Tech, perfect example, is like 3.4, 3.5. Yeah, bro, you almost got to get an A to go to UVA, bro. It's crazy. That's why you can't get quality people to go there. Man.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
dumb shit.
Well, because you're saying because they hold an academic standard that you can't get real athletes to go there because
They
real
don't go there
athletes are
because they don't
dumb.
have because the whole no, it ain't that man. It's just
I'm
that
just saying that sounds like what you're saying.
what I'm saying is that if you had an option to play for a caliber team that's a better caliber team, such as Virginia Tech, that has a GPA of 3.5, where would you go? Instead of having to get a 3.8, where would you go? Where would you go?
You make a good point because
Where would you go?
I used to argue with people like Paul on Facebook back in the day, back when I gave a
He said
shit about
MySpace.
right.
Stop lying, John boy. MySpace. You argued
Dude,
on
I was never on
MySpace.
MySpace. The only reason I got on Facebook is because I was a recruiter in the army and they made me.
Damn,
Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
got
But
dark.
it was I used to use the argument that if your child came home
Mm-hmm.
and said, I've got a letter from University of Oklahoma and I've got a letter from the University of Notre Dame, both said I've been accepted. Which one is more prestigious in your mind right off the bat?
Well, I watched Rudy, man. So like, I saw how hard he tried to get in there, man. So like,
That used to be my argument, but
yeah,
like that's back when I thought college meant fucking
yeah.
something. But I mean, other
I
than the
love college,
educational
man. You
aspect,
gotta
yeah,
love college, man.
yeah.
Now it might be a
I
little
don't
bit
want to get
different
political.
with the money. Now it might get different now because
By the
now it's
way,
got money involved.
big win for the P guy.
Yeah, P guy. But like realistically, it might change all because of the whole money
Dude,
involvement
it
now.
is.
So it's gonna be different. Like I can say, like Paul said, like pretty much the only thing that's going to be different is going to be the transfer portal. I don't like that. Like COVID created that. I felt, and it's just
Yeah.
they never shut it down. They're like, fuck it, we got COVID forever. Everybody just keep
They
doing it.
just need to regulate it like
Yeah,
they need to regulate nil. Like they need to put a little bit more
yeah.
structure to it because teams that are gonna it's gonna show. It's gonna start showing
Mm-hmm.
really fast how lopsided things are gonna get. Or it may just even things out. I don't know. I think we're still early enough that I want to make like
Well, we got like
rash
6 weeks.
fucking knee-jerk reactions as to, well, I mean, this is the first season we've seen college football
Mm-hmm.
playoffs with nil with transfer permit,
Mm-hmm.
I can't fucking
Say it,
say
brother.
it,
Portal,
Yeah.
but
brother.
you know what I'm saying.
I got
Yeah,
you,
TP.
man. I
yeah.
TP.
got you. Yeah,
There we go. There we'll call it TV. That's so
yeah,
much easier. Thank
yeah.
you, Paul.
yeah.
But this is the first season we're seeing all three of these
Mm-hmm.
things. And it's only gonna get like better, I
Yeah.
guess. Like where it's gonna get more interesting. There we go.
They've got to regulate transfer portal. You have to. It's
Yeah.
Got to,
there's
got to.
it's the only, so let's call it what it is. Football is a professional sport that they're paid athletes. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the only professional sport where you don't sign a contract. You can come and go as you please.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unheard of. And if these universities are going to give guys money, it's going to be, hey, we're going to give you money, but guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to any other school for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
3 years, whatever. Minimum 2 years. Hey, look, if we're paying you, we're making an investment in you, you got to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's way too many guys. And I think you're going to see it this year. As soon as the season's over, you're going to see
Gone.
guys hit the transfer
Yeah.
portal that you didn't even know, didn't even realize,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it's the
Why
Wild
would you
West.
why would you not as a player, let's say I got recruited out of high school to go to an out of state college and whatever nothing really worked, but I was that good of an athlete that I could transfer back to my home state college because that's where people knew me and I could get a bigger nil contract
Oh
and
yeah,
then just
Mm-hmm.
work that.
yeah,
I
It's
mean,
just insane, man. It's crazy. Like
yeah.
the
but
options.
it's awesome, man. It's awesome to a certain extent. Like I'm happy for the kids. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy for them, but like at the same time, like it's just like y'all said, like they have to find some way to
How
control it. Like
how
because
are how are college how are the recruiters doing? Like how do they now work
Well,
this?
they have budgets, So
Mhm.
they got teams. OU did it. They hired a general manager, and you've got a guy whose job is to coordinate between the head coach, position coaches, and NIL collectives, and say, hey, we've got this budget for this budget for this, and so you've got coaches, and the head coach has to be the arbitrator of this, the CEO, and this is where it gets so
Mhm.
complicated because there's a limited amount of resources. Every team, even Ohio State, who has the highest NIL roster, has a limited amount of resources. So the head coach has to say, we're going to allocate this here, this here. Well, you commit money to wide receivers, and then halfway through the season, you realize we're not going to have it on the line next year because of injuries and guys that are disgruntled. And so what do you do halfway through the season? You just start, hey, you know what? Guess what? We're not going to give you this money. We got to go buy some linemen. I couldn't
Mhm.
imagine like the
Dude,
decisions a college football coach has to
does
make
Yeah.
there.
does this threaten the NFL
I think it
Uh,
prepares. I think it prepares the
money
player
wise? Like
the
money wise,
players
does
and
this
the
threaten the
coaches.
NFL?
I think it prepares the coaches at the same time too. It's a learning experience for everybody. I think it's
Does certain talent stay out of going up in order to make more money in college? That's what I'm saying. Like,
how
yeah,
many guys are going to play college, become multimillionaires, and say, I guess what? I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to the NFL.
right?
No reason for it. You know what?
yeah.
I made my money. I can go have a comfortable living,
Mm,
and so you're gonna. I bet we see it, especially
mm,
as the money grows. I bet you see some players that decide, you know what? I made $15 million
The
in
mhm.
college.
smart ones would.
Yeah, yeah,
Why not? Why not stay the extra couple years
yeah,
getting hit by guys that aren't as fast and heavy as the dudes that are going to be giving you
yeah,
CTE in the
I think
NFL and be
yeah,
making, I don't know. Like I said, certain schools could end up, if they don't end up restructuring or putting some regulations on this nil, well, there will be no
look at
reason for these kids to fucking go to the NFL.
look at a guy like Carson Beck or what's the guy's name at Alabama? I said it earlier. Jalen Milrow.
Yep.
Guys like that. Those guys are probably not going to go on the same level Shador Sanders is going to go.
no,
So,
absolutely not.
hey, stay in college, stay at Alabama, make another $2-3 million
Make
because you're just
money.
going to be a third round draft pick. And there's no guarantee you're going to make a roster or get a rookie contract.
Right.
I think it's going to benefit everybody because now you're going to have NFL players, college players coming to the NFL more prepared. It's going to
Yeah,
be better. It's going to be better players. It's going to help everything grow,
Okay.
man. Like seriously, it's going to be better. That's what I feel about it. I think that's going to happen.
I think that's a great
Uh,
take on it because yeah, I didn't think about it that aspect that maybe it
Because
weeds
now you're
out
gonna have fifth
certain.
years. You're gonna have people 3, 4 years, 5 years. Because like Paul and y'all saying, like the whole thing is that this money is going to continue. It's going to be just like the NFL. Every year, it probably TV rights are going to be 15% higher than the previous season, 10%, whatever. It's always going to constantly go up. I think it's going to turn exactly into a mini NFL. I think that's
yeah.
going to be the same thing. You know.
So here's a question. I heard this today. I'll ask you guys. Tell me what you think.
Mhm.
Does the NFL eventually step in and take over since it is the de facto minor league for the NFL? At some point, does the NFL say, guess what? These are our players. We are in charge of football in the world. So we're going to step in, we're going to regulate. And I mean, does that, at some point, there's going to have to be someone in charge of college
Mhm.
football. Do they just turn to the NFL and it falls under the NFL purview?
Jimmy, you mind if I go first
Go
on this
ahead,
one?
my brother. Go ahead.
I think, Paul, if something like that happens, I think they look at the way baseball is set up and they do a farm system.
Mhm.
At least I hope they would do it that way. And it would be fucked up at first because it would be like, regionalized, and so certain
So,
teams would
so
get.
you're saying the Miami Dolphins can draft a kid in high school and say, okay, guess what? You're not good enough for the NFL, so you've got to go spend a couple of years in college. So, and we don't want you. You've got the talent. We don't want you going to the SEC and getting hurt. So why don't you go play 2 seasons at TCU,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then that will be your development. And then I guess what
Yeah.
if you have 2 good seasons at TCU, then go play at Ole Miss, and then after your third season, you're ready to come down to Miami,
I-
Mhm.
If,
something
if
like
if
that.
that's the way they have it set up, sure. It's like I'm looking at it as like a minor league system moving up, and I don't see why I mean, there would be an issue with recruiting at young ages. International fucking soccer's been pulling kids as young as like, how
14.
old was fucking
Yeah.
Messi when he got pulled from Argentina to over to Spain?
Yeah.
And they have their whole fucking program. It's their school. The Russians, Paul, have been doing this in hockey. It was they would go play hockey and then or practice hockey and then they would go to school. Like lunch would be,
They
on
lived
the
it.
ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's how,
Yeah.
international sports is way different than American sports. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's showing in basketball. If you look at NBA, man, that's why like all the really solid basketball players in the NBA, they're coming from Europe and overseas. They're not no longer like
the
American. Like
great the
it's
Great
always
White
been.
Hopes.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like it's
I
but
don't know if I
it makes sense though because what you're saying because that's how they are like overseas, like with all sports. It's like
You
they treat it
go
like a job.
watch go watch some of those stadiums in like Serbia and stuff for basketball games. My goodness, dude, there is not an NBA player that wasn't born in Europe that couldn't
Mm,
go compete in that. They'd shit their pants,
mm,
man.
yeah.
That stuff's incredible.
Yeah.
It's insane, man.
Yeah.
That's why I think the whole like on the topic which y'all were talking about the whole NFL taking. I think if college produces enough revenue that the NFL is definitely going to step in. Yeah, I think they're going to ruin it though, man. I think they're
Oh
going to
yeah.
ruin it. Like they're going to ruin it like they ruin everything.
I
But
think that because are we talking like the NFL going head to head with the NCAA? Because isn't that
Mm.
what we're talking
No,
about?
what?
mm,
Well, no. In this scenario, NCAA is going away. They're going away anyway.
mm,
Okay.
They're gonna regulate Olympic sports, probably still the basketball. But as far as football's concerned, they're getting ready to get that yanked from them, and that's
They're
gonna.
just giving up all that money? I don't understand.
No, they're not giving it up. The
mm,
universities are just going to say we're done giving you money for this sport.
Oh,
Like
okay.
they get money for all the sports that
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
promote and help out. So it'll just kind of like guess what football's 90% of the pie. Well, guess what NCAA, we're taking 90% of your money.
mm,
We you can still manage swimming and
mm,
gymnastics, but football
They're
you're not
giving them
going.
the big fuck you. I love it.
mm.
Yeah, and it'll happen.
Mm.
That's the next step in this progression.
Damn, that's gonna be great.
But I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense though. Like you think about it, it definitely makes sense, man. Because like, as soon as money started changing hands like this, like
Mhm.
it has to grow. And come on, man, there's no monster, there's no machine like the machine of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
NFL, man. Like, come on, like that's a machine,
Yeah.
Like so they're gonna be a
They
part of
print
it.
their own money. They print their
Yeah,
own money. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Right. So before we go, I want to bring up our if we had personal picks of who we think are a bust in this top playoff rankings
Mm,
right now. And Jimmy, you and I have been talking about it, and I'm going to bring it up again. I don't think Miami is anywhere as good as what they're showing. I
mm.
think Cam Ward is a good player, but Miami is a fraud. They've had too many games that they should have lost. They had to come back against other games, which Jimmy, you had said that was is a sign of a strong team, but you should never get that far behind an unranked team when you're that high. Um, so I think out of those first four in these college playoff rankings right now, Miami's the biggest fraud, and they're going to be the first to fall.
I get that because I don't like. I'm angry that fucking Miami's number 4, man. Like I am, dude. Like that Virginia Tech game, like all the games, like you said,
Should
man.
not
Like
have
I
won. They
just,
should not have won. Virginia Tech
yeah.
won that fucking
And
game.
I just want to say, like everybody's talking about Miami's quarterback, but Ole Miss quarterback, like that kid's the truth. Like I
Jackson
feel,
Dart.
yes, Dart. I think Dart's better than Cam. I think like just a better presence, better quarterback. Like he'll sit back in the pocket and he'll launch it on you. Like the man got 3 interceptions, man. Like
Dude,
so,
if Ole Miss beats Georgia, I'm gonna go find an old tweet I put up at the beginning of the season that said, "Don't
it's just
sleep on Ole Miss."
I don't know, man, because like Georgia's still Georgia and they're still got a solid defense when they show up. That's what I don't understand what's going on with Georgia, man. Like they got the team there. It's just like sometimes they don't leave the locker room, man. Like I mean, like for real. So
Paul,
sorry.
you got any thoughts on a team who doesn't belong?
Penn State, give me Penn State.
Yeah.
They played that whole game without a functional quarterback. I mean, if Penn State has a quarterback that can complete a forward pass, they probably win that game easily.
Mhm.
But
Against
they
Ohio
just,
State?
yeah, against Ohio State last
Yeah.
week. Uh, and the thing is, their schedule's not terrible. They're probably going to get a wild card spot. They're probably one of the teams, as long as they take care of business, they're fine. And then, they're going to be a 6 spot, so that means they're going to play probably the ACC champ. Uh, so that you're looking
Yeah.
at playing SMU or Miami, and they get a cheap win against Miami, then they're in the Elite Eight and they're
Mhm.
being built up,
Right.
and
It's
yeah,
such an easy way in. And
yeah,
Yeah,
fuck.
they're in. Yeah,
yeah,
they're in, dude. Like
yeah. As long
it's
as they
just
went out, they're in.
yeah, they're
And
in.
and if you looked at them on Saturday, I mean, they can't. I mean, think
Yeah.
of
Do
Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Notre Dame, hell, even Alabama.
Mhm.
They wouldn't be able to move the ball against any of those teams.
and let it be known that I don't think Penn State has. It's been how many years, or have they ever beaten a top five ranked team?
James Franklin, I forget what his record is off the top of my head, but he's like 1-20 against like top 5 teams. Basically, against top 5 Michigan and Ohio State whenever they're
Yeah.
ranked in the top
Mhm.
5.
So fuck. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I got a feeling on that.
Yeah,
Penn State, Miami don't fucking belong. We
Mhm.
yeah.
should see them drop here pretty soon. Jimmy, what do you got for us?
Oh, man, I was gonna say Miami, man, but I'm gonna pick some different one now. I'm gonna shit. We're
If
talking
you
about
if
top. We're
you
talking about top 12. We're talking about top
Yeah,
four.
yeah, and if you pick Notre Dame, I swear to God, I'm
I'm
gonna
not
hit
picking
stop
Notre Dame. I'm
recording.
picking Alabama.
I'm
I'm gonna
supposed to
have
be
to,
bros.
dude. Like I'm gonna have to say,
You can say it. It's okay. I'm here.
So,
no,
yeah.
it's not. No, it's not y'all. Uh, it's a toss up, man. I think once BYU, like I don't think I don't think they're gonna make it far.
No,
BYU ain't gonna make it
No.
far. So that's the guaranteed one for me out of all these. But
they're
Fucking
probably. I mean, they're. I don't. They're not finishing undefeated. So I
mm-mm,
don't. I don't even think they're
mm-mm.
gonna. I think it's a safe bet to say they are not going to
Yeah,
be there at the end of the
yeah,
year.
I'm gonna say them. But
hell.
well, I was gonna say Notre Dame. I can't, man. Like
See,
Notre Dame was only
It's
one
okay.
of the only teams. They were one of the only teams this year that
look,
beat so many ranked teams, man.
Paul,
Like,
Paul,
Yeah.
I
but
don't,
then they also lost a
I
game that we
know.
never
Shut the fuck up,
fucking lost.
Yeah, it was
I
Jimmy.
pretty
didn't mean
bad.
to. I didn't
It
mean to
was a pretty
jab.
bad loss. I wasn't on when that week happened. Jimmy, refresh my memory. Who'd they lose to? What
Uh,
happened in that game?
it was Northern Illinois, Paul, and it was, every time, I don't
I'm
know, I'm
sorry.
getting flustered.
It's a,
No, okay.
It's okay, man. I'm a UVA fan, man. At least you're winning.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Dude,
At least your team's not
okay.
embarrassing itself
Yeah.
every
This
Saturday.
is
Yeah.
my big thing on Notre Dame. Jimmy, you already know this,
Yeah.
Paul. I don't know if you've been watching, but this is the first year that ever since the institution of the college football playoffs, Notre Dame needs to join a conference.
Yep.
Uh, Never before have I been okay with that because it was like a pride thing because they never needed the money, whatever,
Yeah,
all the other arguments wasn't there. But now they have set up a situation where if Notre Dame does not join the conference, they will not get an easy route to the national championship.
Mhm.
yeah. They got to
So
be perfect. They got no
Mhm.
they're still
mistakes,
playing
no
the old
errors.
system
Yeah.
Yeah,
They can't play
because
the old system.
I mean, if A&M had not gone and fucked it up, they could have technically gotten ahead and bypassed Notre Dame in the college football playoff
well, if
rankings.
if A&M was smart, if they'd have run the table, not been idiots,
Yeah,
that makes your best win even that much better.
Mhm.
But
right.
now it makes your best win.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
Jimmy.
it's
I was
like
messaging you about it. I was like, this hurts fucking Notre Dame. This
yeah.
hurts
yeah,
Notre Dame
Mhm.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they shit the fucking bed
Mhm.
against goddamn motherfuckers.
Dude, it was horrible, man. It was a tough one to watch, man. I was like, man, they really gonna do it. I was like, they were really gonna do it,
And they did it
and
by
they
a
did it.
lot.
But I mean, you got to still potential, man, to get in there, though, man. Like that's both of
Yeah.
y'all's teams, man. Y'all both got a
This is
potential to make a run.
I don't at this point I don't
No.
care. I don't
Yeah.
care what conference Notre Dame joins. Most likely gonna be the ACC that we
Mhm.
talked about. But they need to join one.
I think
Otherwise,
ACC
I think the
ACC is
ACC.
dead.
Mm.
There's only it's going to be Big Ten and the SEC
Mhm.
going forward. So Notre Dame will have to join the Big Ten or the SEC because I mean
ooh,
you're going to have Big Ten,
Mhm.
SEC, and they're going to get guaranteed spots. They're meeting right now. But
I would.
you're going to hear about it real soon, and it's going to
Mhm.
be we're going to keep doing the playoff. ACC gets one team, Big 12 gets one team, one group of five gets in, and the rest are all going to the SEC and the Big Ten. So they're going to have to get in one of those conferences that's going to have the guaranteed spots, so they don't have to win their conference to get in.
there you go.
There it
Yeah,
is, my friend. Huh?
Notre Dame to the fucking Big Ten, and they're gonna
yeah.
win it all,
Mhm.
and all you guys are gonna
That'll be the
suck
smartest.
my
That'll be
dick.
the smartest conference to go to. Like definitely be smarter.
Hey, Paul, before we go, I wanted to point out something. Did you
Yeah.
see what I have right here? Do you
Arctic
have one?
Edge High School Hockey.
Do you
Come
have one of these?
on.
Do you have one of
Yeah,
these?
I got
Jimmy,
one
Paul,
somewhere, I'm sure.
Paul and I used to play hockey together.
Come on,
I'm
man.
gonna
Look at that
talk
fly.
until it shows up. Yeah,
Yeah.
There
this
you
is my only hardware I have from playing
Oh
high school hockey.
my gosh,
go.
those are the days.
He won. Didn't you win a championship? You won a championship, didn't you?
They say we did. I don't remember. I was
Yeah,
playing travel hockey at the time, and that was just kind of a night to practice. You know what I mean? So it was like
yeah.
another night
Because
to get on the ice and get some shots in.
yeah,
So
we all sucked. You were a
Mm,
kid coming there.
mm,
It's like okay, bro. Dude, yeah, and there was a all-star game.
yeah, I didn't even
Yeah,
get picked for it. I was so pissed. I didn't even get picked for it. I was
man.
so
dude,
mad,
I don't know how
so
you
mad
didn't get picked. I got
because I was an
picked.
asshole.
I got picked. I got picked and they stuffed the ballot box for me. The Shepherds did it because I was the only guy that would fight everyone because I couldn't skate.
Mm,
I can tell you the story as to why I didn't get picked. So
I want to hear it.
I don't want to name this guy's name, but you're
Do
friends
it.
with him. No, I'm
mm.
not going to because he's a nice guy, and I genuinely feel bad for what happened this night. I genuinely, I mean, well, I was young and stupid.
After I hit
So
stop, I'm gonna bring up the name.
yeah,
Eh,
no, okay, I'll say this: he was at your retirement party, and we
yes.
actually talked. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. I know
Okay,
exactly what you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Yep.
So I'm working at the skating rink, and I have this girlfriend, and I was head over heels for her. Like I found this, like I was, she started working there, and I was like, man, this girl's amazing. I don't want to say her name either because I do not want to embarrass her at all. I don't want her attached to this at all. But I was just smitten with this girl. Well, I was stupid, and I wanted to party all the time, and she didn't want that, so she broke up with me.
Yeah, we were
And
high school kids,
we're in high
dude.
school, junior
Yeah.
year, into junior year, we break up. So over the summer, I worked at the rink, and they all worked there, and he worked there. And I went to this guy, like we were in we were in like the first locker room. I can show you right where we were at. And I'm
Yep.
like, man, I miss her. I want her back, and I made a mistake. I remember like opening up to him, and he's like, well, let me see what I can do. I'll help you. I'll put a good word in. And I'm like,
My
man, that's
man.
awesome. That's awesome. And
Oh
then a few days
no.
go by. I
That's
don't hear
horrible.
anything.
I already
And
know what's
then
about to happen. I don't even know the story.
and
Like it's
someone's
horrible.
like, hey, did you know so and so's dating so and
Wow.
so? And I was like,
Bro code,
that
man.
motherfucker. It is.
Bro
I
code.
said
That's
the
bro code.
next time I see him, it is on like nobody. And this guy, well, he was. I mean, I've always been a bigger guy. He
Yeah.
was a littler guy. He was
Yeah.
avoiding me, and so we're playing his team, high school hockey, and it was
Edmond
one of
Santa Fe.
in Santa Fe. It was the closest school to the rink. They had a ton of people there. We're Midwest City. We had a scattering of fans there. We're in the handshake line, and I mean this was awful, but I mean it was. And
It's
I
high school
I,
boy shit, dude.
I
Let's
kept
hear
my
it.
I kept my blocker on. I didn't take it off. Kept my blocker on,
Well,
and we're going through the handshake line, and we get to him, and I just looked down and I just came with an uppercut and just got a clean, just a clean shot to the head,
You did a
Emily.
Street Fighter Hayuken on her.
Yeah, yeah. Just I mean, I came and that was it. And I didn't, I just got one good shot in and skated off, and that was it. And yeah, and so because of that, they're like, yeah, I got suspended. Like you're not on any All Star teams, and
Mm.
yeah,
Damn. That's
so
why I didn't see you out there.
yeah,
Jimmy,
yeah.
we had good
Was it
times
worth
out
it?
there.
Was it worth it?
At the time, I thought it was. Now I'm
Mm.
embarrassed by it.
Mm.
Now I'm
You
embarrassed. You look back and you're like, that was a dick
dude,
thing
You're
to
a
do.
kid, man. You're a kid, man.
like
Yeah,
like
it's a good story.
Yeah, it
it's a
definitely is.
fantastic story to tell.
Good
Yeah,
story.
because
Hey,
I
and I ended up getting her back.
Come
So
on,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my man.
she saw how good your uppercut
She
was,
was
and she was
like,
like,
oh,
"Hey, I think
yeah.
that kind of motion I like."
That male proves his
No,
dominance over another male. I choose him.
yeah,
So
Yeah, there
yeah.
it is.
yeah, you went
She's like, he
fucking
saw.
straight savage on it.
Come on, that's crazy.
That's funny.
Fucking hey, man. Well, you guys, it's been great.
Hold on, I
Just
got one
talking
thing.
with you guys.
I
Let's
got
hear it.
this one thing. This one thing. We
Yeah.
got to talk about the Army run game, man. Like before we get off here, the Army's run game. They
Yeah,
got like
Oh,
they got
Army. Okay.
dude.
yeah.
They got almost they got
Jimmy.
almost 2,800 yards, bro.
I didn't tell you. Paul's a veteran too.
All right,
The
Yeah.
National Guard. Let's
Well,
never
dude,
say.
he's
you
fucking
Yeah,
served.
served.
You
yeah.
served, brother.
I don't
Fucking
like.
served.
I
You
don't like
You
served,
saying
brother.
spent
that.
time at Fort Sill.
Uh,
That's
Yeah,
enough.
you
yeah,
served,
yeah.
That's
brother.
enough.
You served.
Yeah.
But no, man,
No,
like
Army's solid. Army, dude.
it's
Army's.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's like that is a true definition of run committee, man. Think about that. Because they got like realistically, they got like three, four solid running backs, but they got like six or seven, eight different people that run the damn ball, man. Like
yeah.
it's crazy.
What scares me about it is they've always been a run team, and now like
It's just
what now out of the past 30, 40 fucking years?
mhm.
I mean, I could probably count on, my, you know, hands and feet
Mhm.
how many times they've thrown a forward pass in the
I haven't
past
never like
decade. But
they never had quarterbacks ever.
but
You know, it's
yeah,
always
what clicked now not now that Army's running the ball over everyone? I
dude. I
don't get
Ha-
just
it.
Having the right coaches that
yeah.
teach the running backs
Mhm.
how to find the holes and how to hit the hole.
Mhm.
It's. I mean, there's a coach could come to you and say, "Hey, look, if you hit this at this time
Mhm.
and look for this, you're gonna go score a touchdown."
Yeah, they
Can we
might.
get can we get our bodies to do it right now at our age? Hell no.
No,
Those guys who do,
Uh,
you
yeah,
know, Army PT every day, yeah, they have the discipline. They can do it.
I
They
can
can be
barely
coached.
hold my own piss.
I mean, he has every reason. Like he was correct about everything he said because like the coaches may run like a zone run now. So like now you actually like up in the ante on how everything like shooting the gaps like he was talking about and all that, man. Like it's
I
just
got a
crazy, man. Because think about it, man. There's 6 games left.
I got a question. I got a question, Jimmy, and this pertains to how crazy the Army run game is. An Army run game must mean that your offensive line is pretty good. So, how is it that these officers in the military program over there at West Point
Come on.
are meeting height and weight standards? Are they given waivers? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. I don't know how it works. I like I don't know because
You've
it's
been a
not making
fat guy
sense.
in the
Yeah,
Army. I've been a
I've
fat
been a
guy in the
fat guy,
Army.
so they're able to pass the PT test. I guess I don't know, man. Like
It
because
never
probably
was
that's
about it was
like
never about
so.
being able to pass the PT test. It was were you fat enough or not?
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
I was never fat in the military, man. So like I don't know. I was a crackhead skinny in the military, man. Like I was, dude. I was 156 pounds, 6 foot. Like I was skinny, man. Like I was fucking
You
small.
look like Bolo with
Uh,
AIDS.
I was bad. Like I was skinny as fuck. But no, it's just crazy, man. These dudes are gonna have like probably like 3,500 yards to end the season in rushing, man. Like quarterback, like quarterbacks will win the Heisman if they have that many yards, man. Like more than likely, you
So
know what I mean?
the Army's gonna miss out on some good officers because these guys are gonna fucking go to the NFL. Does the nil pertain
No.
to
How does it? No, like how?
military?
No,
So
that's so fucked up.
there's a great quote, and this is from the early 2000s. Fisher DeBerry, former head coach at Air Force, and I remember hearing this when OU and Air Force played during the broadcast. One of the guys that was doing the game said, had they asked Fisher DeBerry, how do you coach in this day and age, before nil, college football or Air Force? He goes, I can't promise these guys a sports car to come here, but I can promise them a fighter jet whenever they graduate.
Mm.
And he
That's
couldn't promise that either, motherfucker.
the Army can't promise that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
They're like, here, take this.
Here's an
Here's your
Abrams.
rucksack.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
as a recruiter, I would tell you that the Army can promise you a job better than the Air Force can. So,
Yeah, I had a recruiter telling me the same thing, man. Telling me I had different hours,
so,
different
so,
uniform, and
so nil doesn't
uh,
affect military academies.
that's crazy.
No. Mm-mm.
So that's
Well, they can't either because of the way it's structured. So
Mhm.
like you can't transfer into Army or Navy. I can guarantee those guys can transfer out. You can
Mhm.
absolutely, so it can hurt them negatively, but they can't bring somebody in that's a junior because they have to start all over in the freshman classes with the way the courses are structured. So I mean
so
they're outside. They're an island. They're those people on that island in the Indian Ocean that aren't touched by the rest of
Oh yeah, with the
civilization.
spears, with
That's
the
who they
spears.
are. Sentinel, other guys on Sentinel Island, like they're not playing NIL and transfer portal. They
That's
got
fucking
these
crazy.
guys. They're gonna be together for 4 years, and this is gonna be it.
That makes it more
damn.
amazing that they're fucking ranked, then, man. That makes it. I didn't know all that, man. Like
Yeah,
that's crazy that they're even ranked. That's
yeah.
fucking crazy, man. Like,
Go fucking Army.
huh?
But hey, look,
Boy, boy.
Navy was ranked until a few weeks ago. They were
Till
undefeated because they
Notre Dame
played.
beat
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fucking brakes off them.
So
Ooh.
maybe there's something to be said because those guys are going to be the models for the world, not touched by nil, not touched by the transfer portal. And guess what? They can get it done. So people are going to say, "Hey, maybe we don't need." I mean, they'll never get to that, but
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just gonna get
there's
a
that.
nod. They're gonna get a nod on ESPN. That's it. They're never
Yeah,
gonna get a good look because I mean, come on.
they're that
The
controlling
talent the
experiment.
talent's definitely gonna be within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
The kids are gonna go to where the money is. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't want to get political, but I mean, go
But
where you're gonna get
that's what
fucking
it's going to
paid,
be.
dude.
yeah,
Like if I could get paid while going to college, I would have definitely done that instead of joining the army.
yeah,
Probably would have paid
Mm-hmm.
more.
yeah.
Also, would have helped if I was a better athlete.
Come on, man.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks
Love
for having
you.
me. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Paul, man, it was
Pleasure
great
meeting you,
having you,
man.
and we'd
Likewise,
love to
man.
have you on again sometime.
Yeah,
We'll
let's
bring
do it,
up
man.
Absolutely.
hockey
Yeah, dude.
playoffs, bro.
I will. I
You got some
will
knowledge,
move.
man. You got some knowledge, man.
I'll move from my wife's office. I don't have a place, so this is where my
Oh,
wife has her. That's why you see Cinderella over my corner. Needed to point that out. Like I'm not, some.
well, I
I mean,
just
I
figured
am, but
it matched the OU hat, so I just went with
yeah,
that.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, guys, thanks again, and
Thanks for having me, guys.
we'll see everyone else next week.